and also I'm Nigerian. So if you're African of any descent, if you're Ghanaian, if you're Nigerian, y'all know some of the delivery may be a little harsh, right? But it works, okay? We have to go through therapy to heal, but it's okay because it works, okay? It's okay. We'll find our healing by God's grace. Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tochi, and this is Snatching Our Crowns, a curated space for women all over the world to snatch our lives back and become the healthiest and fullest versions of ourselves together. And today's topic is snatching our health back, okay? In particular, if I was still 40 pounds overweight, I would do this. So as many of you may already know, this channel used to be all about OMAD, okay? Before I even continue, if you know what OMAD stands for, go ahead, drop that in the comments. I know you're a real one. I know you are part of the movement, and I love that for us. We used to have OMAD related challenges, and before I even continue, for those who are like, what's the OMAD? What is she talking about, girl? OVERWEIGht is a type of intermittent fast known as 1 meal a day. And years ago, I used to engage in that type of eating fasting window to help me lose a significant amount of weight, and I saw results. And I shared that online, and it kind of just went into a phenomenon, if you will, and a lot of other people began to see results in their own weight loss journeys as well, which was incredible. So in today's video though, I do want to go back to even a couple years ago, like during the pandemic, if I'm gonna be honest, about a time where I gained 40 pounds and I was severely overweight, right? I want to talk to you guys a little bit about that story and guide us into, you know, if I was still that weight, what I would do. So a couple years back during the pandemic, I may have mentioned it to you all before, but I was just going through a series of, I was about to say unfortunate events. Y'all remember that? Was it a TV show or a movie? A series of unfortunate events? LOL. If you know, you know. But I went through a series of external circumstances to where I didn't know how to manage my stress and anxiety other than in terms of food. So that's what I did. I was a Chick-fil-A girl. It wasn't even a cute Chick-fil-A girl. It was like a Chick-fil-A addict. I'm going there. I would literally order the sandwiches and eat it maybe like 3 times a week, always finding my way to get my hands on some fast food and just eating it down so fast, almost like I just could not get enough. I would find ways to just find different foods that are not healthy. It could even be snacks and just overeating and binge eating snacks excessively on a day-to-day basis, day in and day out. Literally, like sneaking in Chick-fil-A sandwiches into the house, hoping I wasn't being judged, and could not get enough. And before you know it, the weight started creeping in more and more and more and more. I began to wear more sweatpants. Literally, I know people were wearing sweatpants during the pandemic. I was wearing it because I couldn't fit nothing else. And I know that's also a story a lot of people can attest to as well, but it was like, not just a little cute pandemic weight, it was you literally gained 40 to 45 pounds. And it's very scary and can become life-threatening if you continue this trajectory. And that's where I was. I even remember the way I was eating a Chick-fil-A sandwich. I keep talking about Chick-fil-A. I still eat Chick-fil-A to this day, y'all. I enjoy me some Chick-fil-A nuggets. So I just had to put that caveat in there. But there was a distinct moment where I was eating a Chick-fil-A sandwich and my stomach felt so full and I wasn't even done the sandwich, but I was like, just told you, keep eating it. Like, you need to eat it. Like, you have to keep eating so that you can be able to like have a temporary relief from your external crisis. And even in my stomach, signaling to my brain, you're full, you can stop eating now. I wouldn't stop. I would keep eating to the point of pain. And it wasn't until this moment where there were 2 loved ones who, within an hour apart, apart ended up talking to me in two different situations, two different scenarios, but within an hour apart in the same day that night, and told me, Tochi, you're gaining a lot of weight and it's very concerning, and you need to find a way to lose that weight and get back to a healthier lifestyle, because if you continue along this track, you are now increasing your proclivity to gain certain chronic diseases or just those various health conditions that come and arise with a higher propensity if you continue to gain excess weight. And I don't think either of those loved ones planned to have that conversation with me that same night, an hour apart. But when I tell you, it wasn't until I heard it twice within an hour apart by two different loved ones, you know. And also I'm Nigerian, so if you're African of any descent, if you're Ghanaian, if you're Nigerian, y'all know some of the delivery may be a little harsh, right? But it works, okay? We have to go through therapy to heal, but it's okay because it works, okay? It's okay. We'll find our healing by God's grace. And I say that to say that because I didn't hear it just once, I heard it twice within an hour apart. It really hit me that night. I remember writing in my journal that situation that happened and the way I was like called out essentially. And I was like, so what am I gonna do? And it honestly woke me up. It was like, whoa, this is really what I'm doing to myself. When you are in this space, this tunnel of seeking escapism through food and finding a way to manage your stress and these negative emotions, and to have a gift of a family member, a friend, a partner say like, hey, like I love you and I'm concerned about what you're doing to your health. I encourage you, if you've been on that receiving end, to allow yourself to receive it. And I know it's really uncomfortable. It can feel offensive. It can feel too much intervention-y, like you're doing a little much, mind your business. But ultimately, that's what love is. Love is someone who sees where you're going and guides you along that right path. And years later, I have been able to, for the first time in my adulthood, maintain a healthy weight for years. And I'm grateful for the OMAD era, you know, I'm grateful for the various eras I've had, but I finally have learned how to sustain a long-term, it's not just about weight, but a long-term healthy lifestyle. And I want to go ahead and get this conversation started and continuing to go through a series of snatching our lives back, snatching our health, our physical health back. So I say that to say that the reason why one may be able to resonate with bits and pieces or maybe my entire story is what eating does for someone who is dealing with a distressful circumstance or event. When one eats, you're able to release feel-good chemicals in your brain, and that's also known as dopamine, that ends up allowing you to release pleasure, and it's like temporary pleasure in that moment. So I would turn to eating to be able to help me experience some sense of pleasure, some semblance of pleasure in an environment, in an event to where I felt out of control, I felt in crisis mode and very high in anxiety. And so it's understandably why one may turn to food, just like I did for so long, as a means to find that end of pleasure, find that end of temporary peace. And I want to tell you in this moment that you don't have to go that route to find a peace. And the first thing I would tell myself if I was still 40 pounds overweight is, I don't need to eat to escape. I would tell myself to break out of that victim mindset of believing that you have no other option but to binge eat in order to alleviate those negative emotions and feelings that are spawned by those distressing circumstances that you're going through. For a very long time, I felt like I had to get the Chick-fil-A and stuff my face with the Chick-fil-A. I would tell myself that I had to. In order for me to find a sense of escape, I had to turn to food. I had to stuff my mouth and stuff my belly. But you don't. Be free and know that you don't have to turn to eating, to turn to food to escape. You have other healthier alternatives. And one of them being, point 2, maybe explore journaling to be an outlet for release or for stress management. I began starting that night, actually, when both of those loved ones called me out. Instead of saying called me out, I'll say called me upward, right? Called me to become a better, higher version of myself. And starting that night, I wrote down that encounter, both encounters, coupled with the fact that I was gonna be honest, like I did gain 40 pounds, and what happened? Where did I go wrong? Or what did I do that led me to where I am right now? And what can I do starting tomorrow to just set myself on a better path towards living a healthier lifestyle? And I just began to just journal, maybe not every single day, but periodically, regularly, whatever that schedule will look like, of allowing journaling to be a space where I could be able to release. I could be able to write down those really painful experiences or thoughts that were paralyzing me, that were weighing me down, and allow me to find a way to grapple with my reality and do it in a cathartic way. And then another point I would say is to get into your walking era, okay? Like, I'm really excited to talk to you all about various strategies I have been implementing for years now that have helped me to be at one of the healthiest places in my life. And it's not a quick scheme. It's not OMAD per se. That could still work, right? But I wanted to focus on a long-term sustainable strategy that I can do when I'm 50 years old, that I can do when I'm 70, and that is walking. You guys, I feel like walking is one of the most underestimated exercises of all time. And y'all know, if you have been a part of this community at any point, you may have seen me jumping rope, okay? Y'all know I was the jump rope girly. I was in my jumping rope era, still am. Don't get it twisted. Also my running era, also my hip workout era. I'm actually still in that era. But I wanted to allow this video to point you all towards exploring the idea of incorporating more walking in your day-to-day lifestyle. So now I would like to walk you through some benefits of walking to perhaps open your mind to incorporating it more in your day-to-day routine. Regular walking can reduce the risk of heart disease, and studies show that walking even just 30 minutes a day can lower blood pressure and improve circulation. When it comes to weight management, walking can help burn calories, aiding in weight loss and management. And for example, a 160-pound person can burn about 314 calories per hour by walking at a moderate pace. And then there's also the mental health component, right? Even the story that I share with you all, a lot of the reason why I turned to food so heavily and unhealthily was due to my mental health, due to dealing with stressful circumstances and situations that I felt like I had to turn to food to escape. And with a change in substituting a way to escape through walking, you're able to improve mood and cognitive function. The thing is about walking is it's so much gentler on our joints than running. I still love to run though. I love me a really good run. I'm a run girly. I keep saying that because I really do, yet I have a really high regard toward walking because I'm being able to maintain the state of my joints. I feel like when it comes to certain activities like running or HIIT, when it's done maybe too frequently, depending on maybe perhaps using an improper technique or, like I said, that frequency, it can cause adverse consequences to one's joint health, unfortunately, as a consequence. And so walking reduces risks associated with joint health because of how much of a gentler approach it is to exercise versus a run or a HIIT workout, which I still love to do. Just not as often compared to walking, or depending on my physique goals for like a certain period of time. Also longevity, okay? Get into the longevity. So studies suggest that walking regularly can increase life expectancy. One study found that those who walked at least 150 minutes per week had a lower risk of mortality. I want to put a pen in that. A couple weeks ago, I was at a restaurant, right? I was at the bar, you know what I'm saying? Just like had a little sippy sip, and I had a book and I was just reading a book at the bar. I know. Y'all can, if you want to judge, you can judge, but it's okay if you want to read a book at the bar. It's not every time. Honestly, I don't know. People go to the bar for different reasons, but at that moment, I just wanted to read. I was reading, I was journaling. Sometimes I go to the bar and do a little reading and journaling moment. I think that's okay. I think that's cute. So I was doing that, and a woman and her husband approached the bar, you know, to get a drink. And then I found myself engaging in a conversation with the wife, and she was telling me about walking, right? We ended up talking about fitness and talking about walking, and she was telling me that her parents are doing very well in their health. And I think they're in their mid 80s, 90s, and they walk together every single morning like clockwork, really early in the morning as well. And as she was telling me that, it was reaffirming the lifestyle that I am intentionally practicing of walking very regularly, because that is what I see for myself at 90. That's what I see for my husband and I to be practicing together early in the morning at 80, 90 years old. And you see how it's an exercise that is not relegated to a certain age group, right? You can be 90 years old and walk and literally burn those calories. And so I admire that we have the gift of walking for those who are able to walk. Don't take that for granted and leverage that, you know, check it out, get into it, because it's giving longevity, it's giving reducing the mortality. And as you know, we know the statistics when it comes to Black and brown people, when it comes to having higher incidences of chronic diseases and higher mortality rates than white counterparts. So it's just really imperative, especially as women of color, to be mindful of finding avenues to practice healthier habits. And that's why we have this community, so we can not just hold each other accountable, but we can continue these conversations and have challenges to encourage us to be on our, I was gonna say be on our Zoom, but I still don't really know what that means. I'm not really on social media like that, but you know, we're back on YouTube, so I'm gonna have to be. I just want to reiterate how from so many different angles, walking is beneficial for you, like holistically, not just physically to snatch that waist, you know what I'm saying, and reduce that back fat, but also to improve your mental health, to boost your cognitive and brain function and memorization, and to have a higher chance, or like just to allow yourself to exercise and take control, snatch the preventative measures you can take to care and steward the body that you've been blessed to have, such that you can use your life of purpose and you're taking care of your body such that you have the health to walk out the purposes that God has for you. And so I just say that all to say, you know, if I was still 40 pounds overweight, I would tell myself I don't need to eat to escape. I can turn to journaling. I can turn to prayer, reading scriptures in order to develop, you know, more emotional intelligence and find a way to stress manage versus eating as an outlet that is unhealthy. And number 3, to get into my walking era, okay? Starting so simple with just even 10 minutes 3 times a week and seeing what that does and just sticking with that. And also, you know, I want this video and just this channel, this platform, this space to be that practical walking together in that. Like, we're going to get through how can we integrate walking, for example, into our day-to-day lifestyle. What do we do on Monday at 2 p.m. or how can we find a way to actually do this long term? This channel is not a quick scheme. This channel is not that. It is how can we do this for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years? How can we take care of ourselves for the next 15? This is for the long run. This is to help us continue to walk along the path that is set to allow us to become the best and healthiest and fullest versions of ourselves. So if you want a space, if you want a community that not just tells you the truth to help you become the best, but walks alongside with you so that when you're struggling, when you don't feel like it, you can turn to this community and we're literally pushing you to become better. You know, in Atomic Habits, the book, James Clear talks about the importance of joining a culture that its desired behavior is its normal behavior. So if your desired behavior is to live a healthier lifestyle and this community champions that and prioritizes that, then I would say it would be great to lean in, to subscribe, to make sure you're plugged in on Instagram, following the page and all the different social media platforms, because this is what we're not just talking about, what we're gonna be about. And so I really hope that this video gets your engines going and really stimulates your care for your health and gives you permission to take back control of your health and not wait until you're in a doctor's office receiving a diagnosis. Like, do what you can now to even prevent that from ever happening, if you can, right? So I just want to encourage you all, and I really hope that this video especially allows people who may be at a certain place in their health right now that they're not happy with to know that you can always turn a page and you can always just make those incremental steps that are sustainable and long lasting. Of course, we have moments where we fall short, right? But to have a space like this to walk with you together towards healthier, because you deserve that, your body deserves that, your future you deserves that. And so I say that to say I hope that this video was helpful and inspiring you to any way. It was a pleasure, of course, spending time with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.